You ever walk away from a conversation just feeling totally exhausted and mixed up? Not because the topic was hard, but because you suddenly feel like you can't even trust your own brain? If that sounds familiar, well, you're definitely not alone. And today, we're going to break down that exact feeling.
It's this really unsettling question, right? It just kind of bubbles up after an argument, or even a simple chat just goes completely sideways. You find yourself replaying every single word, thinking, did I hear that wrong? Did I misunderstand? Or, and this is the scary one, am I actually losing it? That question, that's often the very first clue that a really confusing kind of manipulation is at play. Okay, so let's just paint a picture here so you can see exactly how this thing unfolds. Let's say you bring up something a friend or your partner said last week, something that, genuinely hurt you. You remember it perfectly, you remember the words they used, the tone in their voice, even where you were standing when they said it.
And this is the response you get. Not, oh, I didn't mean it like that, or even a simple, I'm sorry. Just a flat, total denial. And they say it with so much confidence that, for a second, your whole world just tilts. Suddenly, it's not about your feelings anymore. It's about whether the event itself even existed.
And that's it. That's the moment that doubt starts to creep in. Their absolute certainty makes you question your own memory. You start thinking, well, they seem so positive. Maybe I did get it wrong. Maybe I'm just overreacting. And this is the critical moment right here, where your own reality starts to feel, well, negotiable.
All right, let's hit pause on that scenario right there, because that feeling, that confusion, that deliberate chipping away at what you know to be true, it's not just a simple misunderstanding. It's a textbook psychological tactic, and it has a name.
And that name is gaslighting. Now, the phrase to really lock onto here is systematic pattern. See, this isn't about a one-time argument where you remember things differently. No, this is a repeated, intentional effort, usually coming from a deep need for control, to make you feel like your own senses are failing you. It's a direct attack on your reality.
And you might be wondering, where did that weird name come from? Well, it actually comes from a movie. In a 1944 film called Gaslight, a husband literally tries to drive his wife crazy. He does all sorts of things, like dimming the gas-powered lights in their house, and then, when she points it out, he completely denies it's happening. He is literally creating a false reality to control her.
So now that we've put a name to it, let's jump back into our scenario and really see how this pattern of doubt gets built, piece by piece. We've already got the denial down, so what comes next?
Let's say you decide to press the issue. You insist, no, it really happened. The next move is usually to go after your reaction. With a phrase like this, the person isn't just denying the facts anymore, they're reframing your totally valid emotional response as some kind of character flaw. You're not hurt because of what they did, you're hurt because you're too sensitive.
These phrases are like the greatest hits from the manipulator's playbook. Whether it's "you're imagining things" or "that's not what I said," the goal is always the same: to dismiss, deny, and disorient you. They might even try to isolate you by saying something like, "everyone else agrees with me," which is designed to make you feel totally alone in your own reality.
And here's what makes this so incredibly insidious. Gaslighting isn't some big, explosive fight. It's a slow burn. Each little incident on its own might seem like something you could just, brush off. But when it happens over and over, it's like a constant drip of water on a rock, slowly wearing away your trust in yourself.
And you can see how this dangerous progression works. It starts with just one confusing moment. That leads you to question your own memory. Then the pattern repeats itself, over and over, with different situations. And before you know it, you get to a point where your first instinct is to doubt yourself, not the other person. Your own mind starts to feel like an unreliable narrator.
And all of this psychological pressure, it takes a very real toll. It can show up as chronic self-doubt in every part of your life, a constant buzz of anxiety, or just a permanent state of confusion. And it leads to that overwhelming fear that you really are going crazy, which, of course, is exactly what the manipulator wants you to feel. So if any of this is sounding a little too familiar, how do you stop the cycle? How do you get back to feeling like you're on solid ground? Let's talk about that and how you can find your way back to clarity. When you're stuck in this web of confusion, it can feel absolutely impossible to tell what's real and what's not. But there's a way to cut through all that noise. There's a really simple test you can use to check back in with your own reality.
So just ask yourself this. Forget about trying to win the argument. Forget about trying to prove what was said. Just focus on the aftermath. With one specific person, do you consistently walk away from talking to them feeling completely muddled? Feeling like you have to apologize for even bringing something up. Feeling deeply unsure of yourself. That feeling, that is your red flag. That feeling is your compass, and it's pointing you toward the truth even when their words are trying to send you in circles.
So let's end on this, because this is probably the most important thing to take away from all of this. If this has been your experience, I want you to take a deep breath and really let this sink in. Your memory is not broken. Your instincts are not wrong. Someone just worked very, very hard to make you think they were. And learning to trust that inner compass again, that's the first step to finding your way back.